Hi, I'm Doug Mandel, and welcome back to my photography series, Photography Under 10, where I interview a photographer about one piece of his or her work. And today I'm joined from Uruguay by Heidi Lender. Heidi, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me, Doug.
You're
Hola.
welcome. You're welcome. It's so nice to have you and to be able to talk about your photograph, the girl in the green dress. And before we do, I just wanted to say how special it is that you're coming to us from Uruguay, a place I've been a couple times. You're actually living in the area where I visited, which is fairly close to a small town called Jose Ignacio, which is a wonderful beach town. And this series is really to support artists and photographers. So I'd love it if you just say two words about the nonprofit Campo that you started, which is in Uruguay, and what Campo is doing.
hmm I landed here about 10 years ago, and during that time, I really stepped into my creative self. Being here in this magical place with an unbelievable light, a lot of space. There's more animals here than people. And about 3 years ago, I decided that it was time to do something to my intent was to share that experience I had with other artists. So I started this creative institute, nonprofit called Campo, that where we support international artists by hosting artists in residence, and we have an annual art festival, and there's a food component where we consider chefs artists, so there's a mix of food and art. We kicked off really quickly, and we have 3 running programs but no main campus. But I am donating part of my land to build an amazing building by the architect Raphael Vignoli in the coming years. So please come visit.
Okay, well, it's high on my list. As soon as shelter in place is over,
Come
I
on
would like to come. So let's put up this photograph. I'm going to share my screen here. And tell us what we're looking at. This is a photograph of a woman in a green dress in a Airstream trailer. What's going on here, Heidi?
Well, the woman is me. And I am on a property I was living on with my ex-boyfriend for a while, and just beginning my photographic journey. It was the very beginning. I actually shot it with my first camera, which is a Nikon D200, which was not a full frame camera, which I'm really sad about because this is my favorite image I think that I've ever taken. So it can only blow up to a certain size. Um, and it's me that I shot a lot of images over a short period of time, over a few months, that I put this green dress on and shot myself in it in various parts of the property. And my ex had a lot of old cars, so I'm in the Airstream, and I'm in an old Ram Dodge, I'm in a cabin, I'm in the woods, um, and and this Airstream I was madly in love with. Like, I think I started dating him when he told me he had an Airstream. So, but I never got around to I wanted to I had all these ideas about remodeling it, but I did take this image, which is now iconic for me,
Yeah.
for myself.
And for our viewers, by the way, you mentioned it's in Humboldt County. Tell us where Humboldt County is, because people are going to watch this all over the world, and I think it's good to understand that to
Oh,
also understand the land and what's happening.
So we had a place in San Francisco, but his kingdom, as he liked to say, was up in Humboldt County, which is about 5 hours north of San Francisco, where the giant redwoods are. So people may have heard about the drive-through tree. It was up in that area, and it is also the epicenter of cannabis cultivation.
Got it.
So that's what was happening then. This was about in 2010, 2011, when it was still illegal. And I wasn't there against my will, but let's just say it was really hard for me to be there.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it was around the same time that we had come to Uruguay and found this property, and we decided to spend a year in Humboldt to make some money to make this dream happen here. There's
Got
the honest truth out in the world. And so I was helping grow marijuana. I mean, I wasn't the grower, but I was helping with the trimmers and the trim scene. And I got a really big education on gardening and all that stuff. In the meantime, I was starting to take pictures, as I said. And this green dress had been hanging in the closet for years, for like the 5 years before I was up there. And so I'll tell you the story about the green
Yeah,
dress.
please.
So when I first got there to his property, this dress is hanging there, and he's like, "Put this dress on because it's going to fit you. It's amazing, and it looks beautiful in the photos. It really photographs beautifully, but it was a very chintzy, cheap tulle, like it just reminded me of a really cheap prom dress, like maybe from the 50s. And it has this little jacket. It's super tacky. I'm like, I'm not putting that on. And I imagine that like 20 million other women, he had said that too. So I was like, I'm not touching that. And like a lot of times he would say it to, I don't know, it was so weird. I was like, what is your obsession with the green dress? But I never put it on. Anyway, during this trim scene where I was out of my element helping trim pot, which is funny in itself, one day I was on a little break and I put the green dress on, and I have no idea why. Sometimes you're just moved to do these things. And I put the green dress on and it fit me perfectly, like perfectly. And it actually looked really beautiful, like in a fairy princess way. Like it reminded me of a wedding dress. I just felt very, very princessy.
And
And I
you
remember,
had said prior to that you weren't feeling good about being there, right? So,
yeah, exactly. So I had this like weird feeling about being there. I didn't want to really live there. And I was excited about Uruguay, but here I was in this green dress, and I found myself like literally like the dress was taking me all over the property. We were talking about this before, but I feel like this series for me was the first time where I felt like I was in some creative zone where I wasn't like, I wasn't calculating anything. I really was being moved by some other inspiration. And it was really fun. I mean, it was really fun. And I was obsessed with the green dress. I was.
and so the green dress, when I first heard about this photograph, I think from the Richard Levy Gallery,
Yeah.
um, they told me the story, and they basically said you weren't happy, as you had said. You put the green dress on, and then you took photographs all over the property in this dress, and it inspired you, uh, which I love. Um, Tell us about what the how you kind of set the shot up, because one of the things I notice when I look at it, which I love, is how beautiful the texture of the Airstream trailer is, with the raindrops and the steel and your dress, and then in a small corner this gorgeous, I don't know if that's a flower or leaf or what we're looking at there, but it adds such a wonderful dimension of color to this dark corner. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I think I had just been started. I had just started working with a remote control. I used to do the timer, which was exhausting. I think I had a remote control here. And so I could set the shot up and just shoot tick, 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 like a million pictures without getting out of the Airstream. So I remember setting the camera up here, but I also shot with myself in the window, which I then cropped into that. I don't think that I moved the camera around too much. I don't think so, because I like to play. So
Yeah.
I had to check every now and then, because sometimes I would click. For a lot of times it's happened where I would think I'm making a million pictures and I made zero, or I had to check the focus. But the thing when I edited this photo, when I was editing this
Yeah.
image, was the maple. It's a maple tree in the back, and
Got it.
so the whole thing. I love the shape. I love the shape where I'm standing. I love the little red thing, and I love how you mentioned the Airstream is so sharp.
Yeah.
And I was so new at photography. I really didn't know what I was doing. I just didn't. I admit
Well,
it.
it's a wonderful image, and it's perfect for this series because I really want this to be an entry point for people who are getting into photography, both appreciating it and taking it. And your story, I mean, you've become such an accomplished photographer. I have another one of your photography books, and I've seen your other images, but you have to start somewhere. And
Totally.
what a wonderful place for you to start.
Yeah, thanks. Just work your ass off and you start making pictures.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, thank you, Heidi. I really appreciate you being with us, especially from so far away. And I hope that at some point I can make it down there and see your other work and what artists are doing at Compo.
Great. Thanks, Doug. Thanks for having me. Nice chatting.
Okay, you too.